All right. Got myself back. Hi, everybody. Hope everybody's well and having an absolutely amazing Sunday night. So welcome to Let's Talk live on Facebook. And I'm super honored to have some amazing people with me tonight. So it's been a super busy day. Uh, that's the reason for the pride banner. So it's been a super crazy, busy day. You know, when you're dealing in the tech world and doing what I do, you face what's called technical issues and software bugs. And so, for all of my creators or graphic designers, Photoshop updates yearly. They update the whole suite, all the programs yearly, and then they do, of course, monthly or updates periodically. And so there's been a lot of bugs. So thank you all for your patience as we work out all of the bugs from the new update, new system. All right, so I am so excited tonight to have some really amazing people with me tonight. Who people I've met over the years, people who I've grown to love. These people are in my opinion, some of the best people you'll ever meet. Full of a lot of knowledge and wisdom. So we're not going to tarry. Not going to do a whole lot of church announcements. Just tell you that this is going to be a night packed full of information. So this is what I would love for you to do. I would love for you to share, tag, and invite because the information you're going to hear and receive tonight is information that people honestly pay thousands of dollars for. Information is information that these people have spent years acquiring, whether it's through school, whether it's through experience. And so I'm really super honored to have them with me because this is a really big deal for me. So let me first start by saying, why did I want to talk about artist development? Because of what I do, let's say on the graphic side, I get more phone calls than people would imagine about someone, let's say, needing a cover for a single, and there's just a lot of missing elements a lot of times. Sometimes people don't even know that you need a cover to even load the artwork. Sometimes people just don't have the right things in place, and I often feel like it's just a lack of what we call artist development. So it's feels like an old term, but it's still around. It just seems to be kind of obsolete. So I want to help you put some things in place. And even listen, this is not for just people that sing gospel, because the principles apply to all genres. Now, when you get into different kind of genres, different things apply. But the foundational tools, I believe, apply to all genres. So that being said, to you, please invite and share. If you have questions, you can type your questions in at the bottom in the comments. If you have a question that you want to ask, but you don't like, for whatever reason, you don't want us to know it's you, just send your question to info at Yolanda Morant, Marant. Send your questions to info at yolandamarant.com. Okay, so we're going to get started. Again, I'm super excited. I do want to have one announcement. Vote. So please be sure that you are registered to vote. There is no reason, there is no excuse, there is no I don't do that, there's all of that at this juncture where we are in the country does not apply. Please be sure that you register to vote. And if you just cannot go vote in person, if you don't feel comfortable, make sure that you're fully registered to receive the mail in ballot. And then once you receive it, make sure you put it in the mail immediately. Don't wait. Don't put it off till the next day. Make sure you get it done immediately. Okay? That way we can move forward in what we all desire or would like to see happen. All right. All right. So let's get started. So tonight I have two guests. I'm waiting on one more guest actually. Now, so the other guests we're waiting on. See how God works. He just when I said that, here he came. All right. So one more guest who just finished a CD, a listening party. I don't want to say the wrong because I don't want to get in trouble. Okay, that's the wrong words. So a listening party for some upcoming amazing music. Well, I'll let him tell you all about that. All right. So I'll introduce my guests and then I'll let them talk about who they are and what they do. So we have let's go in order. So we have Bishop William Toney, longtime friend, amazing pastor, and like I don't, never heard his name, but I promise you, he's like behind the scenes and he's been in the industry for a super long time. Then we have the Bonita Bellamy Kelly, Bonita Bellamy Kelly. Okay. Long time now I can say kind of long time friend. And she married my wonderful friend and brother, Kevin Kelly. So super excited. Hi, Kevin. And then we have none other than the Dr. Kevin Lemons. Good evening, Dr. Lemons.
Hey, how y'all doing? Can y'all hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, so this is what we're gonna do. Again, please invite, share, tag somebody else because you're about to get a bunch of great free information. Okay, so we'll start with the lady in the room. So we'll start with Bonita Bellamy, and Bonita, tell us a little about you. Thank you for coming, and tell us a little bit about you.
Oh, well, thank you. Of course, Yolanda, anything that you need me for, I'm always willing. So it's my pleasure to be here for you, and always willing to share information to help out artists like you. I get just a load of calls and emails daily about new artists, questions, direction, all that stuff. So I'm glad we're talking about artist development. But I'm Bonita Bellamy Kelly. I'm in Nashville. And my company is called the Bellamy Group, and we are a marketing and publicity company, although we do a little bit more than that. We do promotions. We do artist development as well. And I not only work with artists, and those artists can be choirs, quartets, soloists, groups, hip-hop, rap, contemporary worship. I also work with some Latin Christian artists and some CCM artists. Also work with jazz artists and blues. So we do a little bit across the board there, but also work with pastors and churches and authors, all things marketing and PR. And like I said, we also do artist development. We kind of do a lot what a label does, but we're not a label. I never will say I'm a label because I'm not a label, but we do the work of a record label basically. And yeah, that's it.
That's it. And so Bishop Toney.
Well, I am a pastor. I have been around gospel music industry a very long time. I think the first time I did something outside of Atlanta that I would call national was in '95. I wrote for the worship of GWA, the ladies that recorded Order My Steps. I had a song on the album after that with the great Sanchez Harley as a producer and the late Al Hobbs on Alejo Records. After that, and kind of before that, I worked with a lot of choirs all my life, whether it was a musician, um, local college choir here in Atlanta. Clark Atlanta University used to direct that choir. Put the AU Center choirs together, the gospel choirs, did an AUC Mass album. Under Bishop Carter, I was the state minister of music for Georgia for gospel for a spell. Then I started working with labels, worked with a local label here. Pastor Timothy Fleming had a label, was the A&R director of that label. And then um, did my own recording, got signed first by Montreal Darrett in Nashville. Damon King broke my song, Anyway You Bless Me in Nashville. And then from there, I signed to Alliant Music Group. From there, I began to be a partner and the president of Alliant Music Group and worked there, signed a lot of artists from
And then
Kevin
from
Davis
there,
to
I
Chase
signed to Alliance
Williams, a
Music
whole
Group.
lot of people that we signed. And then from there, started a label here in Atlanta with a friend, PT Media Group, and I um, made a phone call to the gentleman on the feed with us, Kevin Lemons, and said, "I'm not going to start a label without you." He said, "Boss, I'm with you." And so we had Kevin Lemons, Maurice Griffin from Sunday's Best, Lamar Campbell, and we did some things with that as well. So I've always done a lot with A&R work, part owner of labels, but I've always been behind the scenes doing a lot with artists, helping them in and out of contracts, guys needing a mixer, somebody to mix the project, to finish the album, just been a conduit to kind of be the one-stop shop to help people if they need publicists, they need somebody in the radio, and just made a lot of relationships down through the years that I've been able to hold dear, and pull out. So I've done a lot with artists, a lot in gospel music industry, down through the years.
Thank you very much. And Dr. Lemons.
Hey, everybody. I'm Kevin Lemons, founding director of Higher Calling Ministries here in Atlanta, Georgia. I've been serving the city of Atlanta, serving Higher Calling for 25 years. And I want to say maybe 5 or 6 years prior to that was serving with my father, Wilbert Lemons, in the Atlanta Masonic Choir, who is the oldest community choir in the United States that is still singing to this day. And so my musical history, I can honestly say, came from birth. I was born into this, and I have continued on. And so, yeah, that's me. It's real simple, real easy, not much.
Thank you, sir. All right, so let's get this party started. So we're going to ask again, if you have a question, all you have to do is type your question in the comment box. You can ask anything you like, and we're going to move. Okay. All right. Okay, so let's start with these questions. So let's start again with the lady in the house. What is artist development?
Well, first, let me say to everybody that's watching, please ask your questions. That's why we're here. We're here to help you and to answer questions you might have. There's no stupid question, no crazy question. Just we're here to answer. And to the best of our knowledge, we collectively, we could probably answer anything. So don't be afraid to ask us anything tonight. But what is artist development? Basically, it's explanatory. It's developing an artist. It's getting someone ready to actually be an artist. And I think where sometimes we get that mixed up is that we say, well, she's a great singer, she needs to be an artist. Well, just because you're a great singer doesn't mean you're ready to be an artist. There's a lot that goes on that sometimes people don't realize that you have to be ready for, do, and work through in order to be an artist. At being an artist, it's a competitive field. There's a business to it. In our genre, of course, it's Christian music. And yes, there's the ministry side of that, but there's an entire business side of this and an industry side that artists have to be ready for in order to really be an artist. That's an artist, not a singer, not a worship leader, not a this, not a that, but an artist, because you're tossed into a very competitive industry that can pull a lot from you. It's work, and it takes time. Artists are not developed in 30 days. That's not how it works. So artist development is getting an artist, getting a talent, getting a group, getting someone ready to actually go out and perform and sell music. And that entails quite a bit. It can entail everything from getting the look, from what you look like, from performance and coaching. Artist development is a lot of performances, practicing and coaching, and even getting you ready to be I hate to say it, but a product, because you're selling a product. And we have to package it and get it ready in order to compete in the music industry. So it's about getting that product ready. And now, in our time now, that product is a lot virtual. So there's a big virtual development that we do, from social media to digital sales and streaming, that we really do with an artist even before that song is released. So there's quite a bit that goes into artist development, but it can be everything from the personal appearance to the performance and the coaching to the virtual and digital presence and what is it? I guess development of that, or getting a person ready to actually have a Facebook page. A lot of people just put a Facebook page out there and go, but sometimes we start from scratch, or, help an artist get ready for that, down to a website and getting them ready to go on the road. So,
Yolanda, I wanna say something.
Yeah, we can all
I
jump
want to
in.
say something. And Benita brought this up, but I want to say it in a simpler way. There is simply one music business. Period. The business side of music is just one business. The only thing that separates what we consider secular music from gospel music or Christian music is when we open our mouths on stage. Our message.
Mhm.
Mechanical rights is the same. I don't care if you're doing R&B, rap,
mhm.
publishing, BMI,
Yeah.
CSAC, ASCAP. It's the same. I don't care what genre you're doing. Radio spins, record sales, numbers. It's all a business, and too many people, as she stated, who have the talent and the gifts and can sing, they don't understand the business side. So on our side, um, all of the avenues that an artist can make money and funds and things of that nature, because they don't understand contracts, they don't understand what a production point is and what it should get. They don't understand when you spend upfront money, when they spend money on the recording, they're going to recoup
Mhm.
everything back. I don't care if it's an R&B album, if it's a rap album, they're going to recoup everything before you see a dime, because we don't understand the business side. We end
Mhm.
up not making the kind of funds that we can make. And then we end up trying to go out and make all this money from these churches that these churches cannot pay. A church cannot compete with the House of Blues. A church
Mhm.
cannot compete with different platforms where R&B artists can go sell tickets and make all of this money on the road. So you have to even be smarter on the gospel side in understanding the business, so that the streams that are available, you maximize them. And too many of us as artists, we aren't developed on the stage, but more importantly, we're not developed behind the stage when it comes down to the business.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely. Uh, Dr. Lemons, what is your opinion of, or what is your opinion about what artist development is?
Uh, I think Miss Benita and Bishop William Toney have said enough for that, because I totally agree with everything that they're saying. Yes,
Mhm.
You agree?
I'm gonna leave it right there for that part.
Okay, so here's my next
Yolanda,
question.
and
Yeah,
Yolanda,
yes,
another thing
ma'am.
too, let's not forget, another part of artist development is the production side of it. Even
Mhm.
getting with songwriters and developing your songwriting skills. There's a lot of times we are working with artists on songwriting for a year or two, or however long it takes. That's a part of artist development, is maybe collaborating with other songwriters and learning to how to write a song. So let's not forget the production side of it, and pairing them with good producers and musicians and getting their band together. All of that stuff also is a part of artist development before they even perform or record a song.
So
I
while it's
can't
my
tell you
goal
how
to
many
stay on a
church
certain track,
musicians.
So let me ask
I
this:
can't tell you
Mhm.
how many church
Have we
musicians
ever?
that will kill on Sunday morning, but they're not fit to cut an album.
That's
Because, as
true.
you stated, they don't know how to lay tracks down. They don't know how to create a intro. They don't know how to understand that an intro can't be 39 seconds, because if radio's gonna play it, you ain't got but 3 minutes and some change for the song. So you can't have this long, wonderful intro, but you got to have people that understand how to make the music breathe, how to build it. There's a whole, and she's right. There's a whole side of understanding, getting up, doing a album and doing a song on stage as an artist versus You can sing a song, for 12 minutes on Sunday morning and keep revamping all you want to. You can't have that whole thing down. If your engineer don't know how to find a spot to cut the song so we can make it radio friendly and then bring in a reprise on the album, you shot yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
Kevin?
I guess my question would be to Bishop Toney as well as Lady Kelly. Wouldn't you suggest, or would you say that true artist development really starts at church?
Benita, you want to go first?
Well, yes and no, because there's some things that church is going to teach you about being an artist. It's just not. And I think too often we get the lead soloist from the choir, Aunt Pearl says they sing great, and then that inspires them to go record, and they're not ready. They didn't learn anything from the church. It's just a false sense of artistry. So there are a lot of great things that come out of performing in front of an audience and being in an environment where you have to lead, be on key, and the responsibility and all of that come from being in a church. But a lot of times, only because I get a lot of this on the daily, we're giving a lot of people a false sense of artistry just because they sang in the choir or they sang well. And now they're trying to be an artist and they're not ready. And they're just not ready.
So I'm going to say something a little different. I'm going to answer yes and no, Kevin.
Okay.
Everything that she stated, I agree with. I do think that there are some things that church can teach you that you will be able to use as a foundation of building your artistry upon. I think everything needs to have a solid foundation. One, I think when we had artists who were committed to a local church, first and foremost, I think that they were able to pour out when they got to the microphone on stage and minister to souls differently than those that were not committed to hearing the word and being in church on a consistent basis. I think also there's a measure of faithfulness and commitment and drive that comes along with a singer who understands this is my reasonable service, because the gospel industry can let you down so bad that if you're not doing it because you've been called to do it, purposed to do it, formed and shaped to do it, you will be so discouraged, you will end up quitting. And I think that faithfulness, that this is my reasonable service. I'm at my local church. I sing when I'm in town. I'm in church. I'm in worship. I pay my tithes. I give my offerings. I'm committed to working someone else's vision, because the truth of the matter is you can't be a leader until you learn how to be a follower first. And I think that happens. Now, on the flip side, so many churches end up raping our artists, end up raping singers, raping musicians. They can take care and do better by them, and they don't. And then you end up people getting hurt and they go away from the church altogether, which is a whole nother question. But I think there are some things that you can learn. But I think the biggest mistake, Kevin, we make is because we get up and do what we do on a local level on church, or as the singers and musicians say, because you get up and kill your house every Sunday, you think that is going to automatically transfer everywhere you go. And that's not necessarily the case. So sometimes being a local person in a local church can push you up to think that you're something. The Bible says, don't think more of yourself than you should, highly than you should. You think that that's going to transfer everywhere you go. And when you go somewhere and it doesn't work, and people look at you like, next, when you go to the Kojic midnight musicals and they boo you off the stage, like who's coming up next because you can go on and leave, then you stuck and shot. And if you don't have that foundation, that this is my reasonable service, I've been called this, it will cause you to quit. It will cause you to leave gospel music, because again, the pay is not there, number one. So it's not like you're making millions of dollars. And then y'all church folk are so judgmental, and you're going to talk about everybody so bad that ain't nobody going to feel like going to sing nowhere else, period. So I think that there are some things that you can learn to make you a better person, which automatically makes you a better artist. But I'm with Benita that you cannot learn artist development singing in the choir. with a robe on only, because it's so much more to it than that.
I agree. Of course. Oh, I'm not gonna have any disagreements tonight. So, I agree. Okay, so Benita said something that I want to stay on course, but Benita said something about music, and so and anyone can answer any question that is given. So, how important is it to? This wasn't in my original list of questions, but how important is it to be a registered member of BMI ASCAP? So on and so forth, because she talked about music and she talked about songwriting. And so I've had people say, hey, I have my song. And then I'll say, send me your, okay, so I'm gonna stick, I'm not in the artist lane tonight. I'm gonna stick, because I'm learning too. So in the graphic lane, I've had people send me their credit. They'll say, I'm doing a song. And I'll say, okay, are you printing? Yes, I'm printing. Okay. And I'll say, well, can you send me the credits? And they'll say, oh, I have to send you that part too? Yes, Pumpkin. You got to send me who did what. Like you should want to give the people credit. And so then you'll hear someone say, oh, well, and then you'll find out they don't even know what BMI is. Right. So there are people at all levels, right? Some people don't even know what ASCAP is. They don't know. So how important is that to becoming an artist in the artist development process?
Okay.
Paramount.
Let me
Yeah,
let
like
me let me let me jump in real quick.
Paramount.
Because I used to be that person. I'll be very honest with you. I used to be that person.
Can you turn your volume up?
Yeah, we can't hear you, Dr. Lemons. Turn your volume
I
up.
apologize.
Put your mouth on the microphone.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah. Can you hear me now?
Cuff the mic, Doc.
Oh, shut up. Bye. All right.
Still can't hear you.
Archie.
Okay. So here's my thing.
And we don't want to see the roof of your car either.
Listen, when I decided that this is what I wanted to do, that I was serious about doing it, I invested in myself in knowing, gathering information that will help me or push me in those areas. Back in the day, we had GMWA, we had Thomas Dorsey, we had the Hawkins Seminar, we had all of these great places where they taught these kind of things, and a lot of the artists, a lot of the solo artists that was coming up at that time went through those channels to learn these things. We today, okay, that's fine, we get it, but search the internet, get with somebody that knows what they're doing so they can teach you. I didn't know a lot of stuff. What did I do? I called William Toney. Doc, walk me through this. Explain this to me. Help me understand this. I'm not a pro at it, but I got better at it because I asked. You know what I'm saying? And I think a lot of problems with artists today is that we don't want to ask for help to further us in what it is that we're trying to accomplish.
Yolanda, Benita said earlier that we have to understand that we are a product. I think the term that you guys use now is brand. We are a brand. And if you're going to be a brand, you have to know everything concerning you, from the
Absolutely.
stage to residual income. The first, Kevin brought up Jim WA. When I wrote for Jim WA, first of all, you had to have the music on, it had to be scored. You couldn't just come in and say, I wrote a song. We need to know what key it's in. Literally, true story. Telling myself, I'm up teaching my song. I teach a part wrong, and because it's written out and the ladies could read music, one little later said, she said, excuse me, son, now on this paper, it's supposed to be this note, but you just gave us that note. Now, which one is it? I know you wrote the song, but is the paper right or you right? I was like, the paper.
Wow.
So you had to understand. I didn't understand how to score a song. I had to find somebody who could play a keyboard in software that could score the music, because you weren't going to present it if it wasn't that way. I did not have publishing at the time. Shout out to Pamela Jean Davis. Pam Davis said, William Toney, you can use my publishing. I didn't know what publishing was. I said, no, Al Hobbs said he's gonna do publishing for me. And I didn't understand what it meant. I didn't understand that he was taking the publishing side of my song. Publishing is simply this: writers get paid as a publisher or as a writer, or both if you are both, which I am now because I understand that. A publisher is able to put your song out. Your song can't come out on the radio. It cannot come out if it's not published. Somebody has to have publishing. So you can get percentage as a writer or as a publisher. I didn't understand it, because I didn't understand it and I learned the hard way. I made a vow, because there are probably 100 Kevin Lemons that have come in my life, to make sure that they understood, so that what I went through in not getting my publishing and not getting my mechanicals, nobody else would. The problem is record labels make money, and I probably would get shot in the foot, but record labels make money on people that don't know no better. When you go to court, the judge will tell you, well, sir or ma'am, ignorance of the law is of no excuse. Because you didn't know didn't mean it wasn't the law. And so labels like to find people that have talent and they're hungry and they want to get on stage and have their name in lights, but they don't understand the business. And because they don't, every time that song comes on radio, every time that song is on a commercial, every time that song is in a movie soundtrack, every time that song is done, anything is done with that song, somebody somewhere is making money. All we cared about was getting that house, tearing the church up. Doc, we shouted a good time. We had some good church. And while we doing all that shouting, having a good time, somebody is listening to your song on the radio, getting a check every quarter from either CSAC, BMI, ASCAP, and you are clueless. And there are a lot of artists who help co-write songs. When they gave you the song, you totally rearranged the song. You added that drive, you added that vamp, you changed the words in the verse, which makes you now a co-writer. But if you don't have your own publishing, how can you say, well, I should get 25% of the song? I should get 15% of the song. How can you say that? You don't know. You have to know publishing. Because the day somebody says, I'm going to make a movie, for an example, like The Preacher's Wife, and I'm going to use Hold On, Help Is On the Way, even though Georgia Mass did it umpteen years ago, we're going to put Whitney Houston on the song now. See, that's when you're going to be real mad you didn't have your publishing. Because the radio play that Whitney going to get is totally different than Georgia Mass got by themselves. And it was in a movie. And it was on VHS and DVDs, and HBO played it. And every time it came on, somebody was getting a check.
And I think there's a good point to that. So recently, if some people, again, if you have questions, again, if you're asking, let's prevent, what are we talking about? We're not talking about hair. We're not talking about clothes. We're talking about artist development with Benita Bellamy Kelly, Kevin Lemons, and Bishop William Toney. And so some people may not be aware, recently shows like The Parkers, Girlfriends, Sister to Sister, a lot of these shows recently, I'm not sure how the agreement was, right? But a lot of these shows are now on replay, or you can, watch them all at one time on Netflix. Guess what I'm seeing? Shirley Caesar, Donnie McClurkin, Fred Hammond, Kirk Franklin, all on these shows, all playing their favorite songs. And you know what I always think when I'm watching, because I just don't think I'm an average watcher, right? So I'm always watching is, man, they must be getting a nice check right now. They songs just playing, Shirley Caesar, Yolanda Adams. And our first person I thought of when I was watching the episode of The Parkers was Kurt Carr. And Sanctuary has been in God knows how many movies and television shows, but now I guarantee you with someone like Kurt Carr, his stuff is together. But I'm saying to you all, imagine if Kurt Carr's publishing was not in order. About the many times that we've seen the song Sanctuary, it's been in movies like it's been in, I think it was in Greenleaf one time. I mean, it's been in so many movies and television shows. So that just goes along to what he's saying. You know, you actually never know where it's gonna go. Now when we see the song "Work It Out," it's been on 100 commercials now. So you just never know where things may go in the future. That's why it's important to have your business taken care of up front, so that when things come along, you can already have everything down the way it should be. I mean, Benita, do you want to touch on that? Or
Oh no, I'm good.
we're good. Okay. So my next,
Handle
go ahead. You said handle it. So my next question was, there was a day that labels like Motown, Def Jam, Verity, in case some people may not know what Verity is. Verity was really hot, you know, during this time. They were all required artists to go through artist development, but now artist development, it seems to be a lost art. Why do you think that is?
Boss Bishop Toney. Well, I'll speak a little bit on that. Labels, for the most part, don't do a lot of artist development because it's costly. And the blueprint for making music, releasing music, selling music for a label has changed just because the industry has changed. Used to, we could sell, thousands and thousands of CDs in the first week, or et cetera, et cetera. Now it's different. It's not like that. So a label cannot invest money that they know they're not going to recoup anymore. A CD sale is different from one MP3 download. And once you split that, you got to think about the revenue that comes from that. So that's what a label thinks about. They would rather have an artist who is ready to go, that they're not going to have to invest a year and $100,000 or $200,000 or $300,000 in artist development and getting them ready. They would rather just go ahead and release that artist who's already ready with a record to release and start recouping any money that they spent on marketing and promotion. So that, in the gist, is kind of where we've lost artist development from a label. And when I first started in music, I started at EMI Gospel, and we were a developing label. Okay, because it was a new label. We had all new artists. We had Smokey Norfolk. We had Darwin and Darwin Hobbs and Sharon Riley, Faith Crowell, and we had developing artists, and that's how I learned what it took to really create, develop an artist. And we could do it then. We could recoup that money because of the album sales that they were generating and the touring that they were doing. But now a label can't recoup off of a Spotify stream. They just can't. So it behooves a label to go out and find an artist who is ready, or who has gone through some other type of artist development, where they can, like I said before, start immediately recouping on any marketing promotional money that they invest in that artist. So
Bishop, so the question we ask is, in prior times, you saw labels like Motown, Def Jam, Verity, artist development was required, and as Benita has so wonderfully explained why it's been removed. So my question is, if you want to comment on that part. In addition to that, to me, even though these artists may have the numbers right on the streams, I think personally there's still a large lack. And again, everybody who's watching, I'm learning just like you are. I just know they have the information. Okay, so I still feel like there seems to be a large lack of artist development, even though these artists have the numbers. They may have the reach, but there still seems to be a lackluster of knowledge or information in that part. Do you agree? Disagree?
Social media has been a gift and a curse.
Mm-hmm.
And we have replaced the need of artist development with likes and hearts. And because we're getting likes and hearts, we feel like where we are, what we're doing, we're good. And we don't need to be concerned about development as an artist. I'm not talking about labels now. I'm talking about individuals that say, I'm an artist. People are so motivated by likes that, if I have, 100,000 likes and I look how I look, I talk how I talk, I handle my business how I handle my business, who cares about development? Take me as I am. I'm going to come to your church with some holes in my jeans and a t-shirt on, and I'm going to get up in your women's conference and I'm going to sing. And you're going to pay me all this money because I have, 500,000 followers on Instagram, and my YouTube page, I have over 1 million views. And we can't think that social media approval has made you a well-rounded, wise artist that know how to represent, first of all, God. Second of all, if you're on a label, your label, yourself, and all of the people that's looking up to you saying, I want to be you one day. We used to, and I think that's where the church side comes in, at least it used to, because there was a certain discipline that came along with discipleship. There were certain choir directors and directresses and pastors that you couldn't come up there looking any kind of way, wearing anything, doing anything, living any kind of way, getting up, getting the mic, singing. And some of that helped you when you got on stage and you were away from your home church. When I went to Barbados, they have a plaque in the airport for the natives that says, remember, when you leave here, you represent this island everywhere you go. And what that says is there's a certain way you need to carry yourself. I think some of that comes through discipleship and discipline. And I think that we've just gotten so loose now and we don't care how we carry ourselves. So if we don't care how we carry ourselves, artist development is just not something that people care about anymore. But I think it still makes you stick out for a right reason and for a good reason. And I still think you can go far. The last thing you want to do is be up today and down tomorrow because you shot yourself in the foot because you don't know how to talk to people. You don't even know how to sit up and smile and take a picture with somebody. You can't even sit down for 5 seconds and have a conversation. And if somebody's saying, I'm thinking about killing myself, but your song helped me, you don't even know how to, because you don't go to church, you ain't been in tarot service, you ain't been praying, you don't even know how to grab nobody's hand and say, come on, let's pray. We're gonna pray about this. Or I got a son at home that's about to die, or got a daughter. We don't even know how to do those things anymore because we don't even like people. We just want their likes and their followership. All of that to me plays a role in artist development. If you can't take the time to smile and say, have a blessed day, why do I need to spend 10 with a friend?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And all that is what artists have to learn. And part of that is you learn that by performing and being in front of people, continually doing that. You can't be an artist sitting on the couch. It just doesn't. You've got to get out on the road. You got to play the small church. You got to play the large church. You got to play the medium church. You got to do some media training, learn how to do an interview and talk in full sentences and answer questions.
Do a commercial with you, a ad at the radio station. We got to do 10,000 takes because you can't say hi. My name is Toney. Come on.
And you forget stuff about your own product that you have to say on it. I mean, all that stuff is artist development and how you interact with people. You know, I'm on the road all the time with my artists. I interact. If I over interact you don't need to be an artist. You've got to interact with people. People are there to see you, not to see me, not to see your manager, not to whatever. They're there to see you, and you've got to engage. Part of artist development is learning to engage with people. You've got to, one, gain fans, and you got to keep fans. If you don't know how to talk to people or engage or have a nasty attitude, you will not fans or likes. It's not going to work. There's a formula. Engage with your fans. If your fans can trust you and believe in you and feel like they have ability to be accessible, you're accessible, then you'll keep fans. And guess what? they'll buy your music.
So
Hey.
I want to put something in right there, and as Dr. Levin gets ready to comment. So one thing I was given about tonight is that to remove your emotions, not these people, the people watching. So I think one thing about creatives, or whether you're a painter, whether you're an actor, whether you're a music artist, we a lot of times work off our emotions. We create. That's how sometimes we create. And even in the Bible, even if you're watching this, you're not a believer. You'll find this over and over again in life. Is that in business, be men, and that means without emotion. And so I believe a lot of times what happens in these spaces and places is that people come into this place with a lot of emotion attached to what needs to be done. So you're hearing that they're a little straightforward. Just understand that they've been doing this for a really super long time. But you have to receive this information tonight without your emotions so that you can get the proper understanding. Kevin.
Hey, I just want everybody out there in the world to know my name is Kevin Lemons and I love everybody. Okay? I love everybody. Okay? You can come and take my hand. I'm gonna shake yours back. And I'm gonna smile. And I'm gonna
And
be
then I'm gonna use my hand sanitizer.
I'm using
Right.
I want everybody to know that I love you. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So my next question is, while we need to talk about some of the reasons why artist development has been removed, we don't see it as much. But why don't we see it a lot in the gospel industry?
I think it's across the board. It's not just gospel. That's just, some people don't branch outside of gospel, so you don't know. But I work in different genres. It's the same. It's not just gospel that doesn't do a lot of artist development anymore. It's music in general. It stretches across the board.
Kevin?
Hey, Doc, she talking to you.
I think everybody, and this is just me, I'm not on both sides of the spectrum. I only deal with the gospel side. All right. And I mean, I know other people that are in the area, you know what I'm saying? But I think that there's a greater expectation for people that are on the gospel side versus the secular side, and which I think should be, because I think that the gospel community should lead the way in treating people right, or responsible. You know what I'm saying? Because we are God's kids, kingdom workers. You know what I'm saying, and things of that nature. So I do believe that there should be another level of expectation that comes from our side versus the secular side.
Bishop?
Yolanda, I think that there's a word that we don't talk about a lot anymore, and that's the word genuine.
Mm-hmm.
I think that, and I'm gonna stay on this horn. I think social media has been a gift and a curse. I think that when labels, or let me say it this way, when independent people can do their own record, push it on their social media, sell some product, make noise, good noise. Um, if you don't have the artist development mindset, you don't realize what kind of force a real label behind you, how it can be when you have to do everything yourself. Yes, you can keep all the dollars yourself, but if you aren't genuine, if you're not a genuine people's person, you better really surround yourself, even as an independent person, to have people who can really cover that up for you well. I told you I would be nameless. There's a guy that I know, artist, good friend of mine that I know, been in the industry forever, and was going about doing another project, getting off a label, doing his own thing, and he hated, not because he wasn't genuine, he was just shy. He hated doing the social media thing, talking about, hey, I got da da da. And it's like, bruh, at the end of the day, as Benita said, these people want to get to know you. They want to come into your space. That's what social media has done. Y'all let everybody in when you're eating, when you're at the restaurant, when you're at the mall. That's what people want to see us going to do. So you're going to have to do some of that, and you're going to have to be sincere and genuine. You can't be up there trying to do it like, I really don't want to be doing this, but hey, y'all, I got a record coming out. No, you have to be genuine. I think that we've lost some of that, because I think that why we do it has changed. There was a time that artists in the gospel industry felt like they were called to first sing, because in gospel, you didn't make it if you couldn't sing. That's number one. So you had to first feel like there was a calling to sing. And because of that commitment to the call, you were genuine in when you got up to do what you do. And on top of that, you were genuine when you dealt with people, because you understand, I am only here because of these people that's either listening to me, putting some money in this offering, or buying this CD. And so I genuinely enjoy people. When you lose that, and it's just about the paper, when you lose that, and it's just about the fame, when you lose that touch, as she talked about having that common touch, and you're not genuine about what you're doing anymore, I think that you end up being in a position where you can't be successful. Even with the social media, you can fool some people. If you stink, it's gonna come out. And Lord, when it come out, everybody gonna know it, and it's just gonna rip you apart. How can you reach people? How can you genuinely care about lifting someone's soul up, and you can't stand people? And part of it still, some folk can't stand themselves. They don't like themselves. So if I don't like me, I ain't gonna like you either. You know, this gospel music should be fun. It should be something that we enjoy, we look forward to. In a time like this with COVID and this pandemic, to uplift, and I get it. We all gotta live. That's why I go to work every day, Yolanda. I go to work every day, so that when it comes down to ministry, I don't even have the excuse of I can't do something because they're not paying me. That's because I genuinely love people. That's because I genuinely love God. That's because I genuinely am still a fan of gospel music. I love gospel music, period.
Absolutely.
And I enjoy it. I still support it. Look at my page. When my friends and people that I know put out albums, I ain't put out an album since 2005. Every time somebody put up something, go get it, download it, support them. You don't know how many phone calls I get. Hey, man, I'm coming through Atlanta. Don't worry about it. I got your 8 o'clock. I got your 11 o'clock. I got your Sunday night, because that's what you're supposed to do. Because you genuinely love people. You genuinely love gospel music, and you genuinely want to help people do that. We don't have that no more. If you have a label behind you and you're not thinking like that, I don't know how you're going to make it. I don't know.
So what it sounds like to me is you're saying part of what's happening is I personally, believe you have to have a little bit of old and a little bit of new. I think that's in my personal opinion, one of the best ways to make it. So I grew up, singing quartet. I grew up singing quartet, then it advanced to sing the choir, or the choir came first, then the quartet, then praise and worship, then back to the choir. And in all those spaces, I learned about so much. But I feel like just the things you're saying, some of the things are, in my opinion, are foundational. I believe you have to hug the babies and kiss the grandmas. I believe you'll last a lot longer when you are touchable and tangible. So CeCe Winans to me is like the queen of worship. But this woman is one of the nicest people you will ever want to meet. I mean, she is just like this bundle of love, right? She's nice and sweet. And then, she's been around so long. I mean, we still love her, and she has put out new music in years. So I think that to me speaks to part of, what's missing is just that part on that level. And I totally agree with you. It's hard to be an artist when you don't really like people, because you're always going to have a hard time. And I think the other part is a lot of artists are unhealthy. We're unhealthy on the inside. And so to me, you'll never be able to be your best when you're unhealthy on the inside, because you'll never be able to fully produce what you should.
Yolanda, you think the artists of old were 100 and in good spaces all the time? No,
Oh
they
no.
weren't. They had issues, they had problems, but the mentality towards reaching souls and making people's lives better through my gift and understanding it is a gift given to me by God. It's not mine.
Mm-hmm.
So I can't hoard it. I can't take credit for it. That's what got the devil in trouble, trying to take credit for a gift that God gave him.
Absolutely.
So we're gonna always be broken vessels that God used. Matter of fact,
Mm-hmm.
it's the brokenness that allows his oil to seep through. If a cup is not cracked, how can something seep through unless it overflows? But even when I'm broken and I'm half full, I can still reach other people. So brokenness, not being whole, doesn't stop you. Matter of fact, it's what God uses the most, because more of you is out of the way. There is a fundamental, and I don't care how everything goes around in a circle, it all comes back around. There's a fundamental piece to all of this. If I am a gospel artist, am I even, how many new artists are even concerned about, watch this, souls still coming to Christ? Number one. Number two, or just my fingerprint, when I touch these people musically, their life is going to be better. Who's even concerned about that? Or are we just concerned about, I got to get this hit? I got to get this crossover song. I got to do this. I got to do that. What's the real goal of a gospel artist now? What are they really trying to accomplish? So I think we need to start there. Like, if you're trying to just sell records, let me be the first to advise you, go on to do R&B.
Oh,
If you're only after record sales, because you'll probably have a better chance getting more money that way. But if you're going to come to this side, the foundation still has to be, I want my fingerprint when it touched people to be as close to God's fingerprint as I can get it. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm just a vessel that he can use to reach the masses. That's it.
wow. Wow. Well, that leads me to my next question.
That
So
was so,
artist versus worship. Sir, go.
that was so beautiful.
Niggas
That was,
I don't know why I can't hit nobody.
that was
need to cry. So that leads into my next question. Artist versus worship leader. When do you know it's time? And I'll start with Kevin on this. When do you know it's time to be an artist? Because some people, as Benita said earlier, it's everybody, just because you got that song, girl, that doesn't mean you should be an artist. But there is a time, when you should. So I'll start with Kevin.
I can't. I mean, it's different stroke for different folk. I can't really pinpoint a certain time, after you've been doing it for a long time, when it's time for you to step out there. You know within yourself, you know what I'm saying, and it's something that no one will be able to tell you. You would know when that time. You've gone through the. People say they use it all the time, and and at first I didn't think that it was true, but it really is true. When you've gone through something, when you've gone through the fire, you've gone through all of this, all of the ridicule and everything that comes along with what you're doing. And when it's time for you to really step out there and you know it's God on you, you'll know it before anybody else will. And so what we have now is we have a lot of people that are pushing us into destinies that have not been formed for us yet.
Agree.
Because our friends told us, you should do this. You should do, girl, you sound good. Man, you sound great. Oh man, that's a great song. No, it's not. No, it's not. But we don't know that. You know what I'm saying? We don't know that. So I can't say when is the right time for you to do that. You have to trust God and know for yourself when it's time. And when it is time, the provisions will be made for you to do what you need to do. It won't be such a struggle. It won't be a hassle. It won't be. It'll just all fall into place.
Anita?
No, I'm glad, Kevin mentioned that, if God tells you to do something, he will make provision for you to do it. And in this industry, let's not be naive and think that things don't cost and things don't take time, because radio costs money, publicists cost money, producers cost money. Producers don't take anointing and prayers. They take cash and Cash App and PayPal and checks.
Zelle.
And Zelle. It costs money. So yes, you need to, one, be in alignment with what God is preparing for you and has asked you and told you and prepared for you to do. But I think he will, if you allow him to, give you the wisdom and the means to do it. So you have to be wise about the steps in doing what he has set for you to do. That's why we need to learn part of this business, because you can't just say, God told me to do something and just think that poof. You have to be an active participant in what God needs you to do. And we just have to do it with wisdom. And part of that is learning what it actually takes to be an artist once you step into the artist realm, because there are budgets and there are timelines and there are things that need to happen in order for you to cross that threshold into the commercial world of being an artist. So.
Yolanda, there's a song that they used to sing in the Pentecostal church that said, "Put your time in, payday it's coming after a while." When is it the right time to know that you're not just a worship leader and you are an artist? One, when you put your time in. Mm-hmm. Because there are lessons that you're going to learn putting your time in that's going to make you be the best artist you can be out the gate. Mm-hmm. I'll use Kevin Lemons for an example. Kevin Lemons didn't just do his first recording with Higher Calling just because. Kevin Lemons had been around several recordings as a musician, mm-hmm. as a background singer, several recordings, several, as a choir director, several before he became an artist. He had been a choir director and founder of a community choir for years before he became an artist. Mm-hmm. Are you listening to me? That's my testimony. Before I ever became an artist, I had already been a writer, had already written for Jim W. I had already played on albums, had already produced some things, already done some things, already learned not to give your publishing up and how to get a publishing deal with CSAC, all of that stuff before I became an artist. So when I became an artist, first of all, I did my album myself. I owned my masters because I understood the importance of that. And then when it came down to mechanicals and paying the producer and all that stuff, I didn't have a problem with it. I understood, you know why? I was the writer of all the songs. I was the producer of the album. So I ain't have to pay nobody but me because I had put my time in as a background singer, as a musician, as a writer, as a producer, as a musical director. Put your time in first. And when you put that time in and you learn the business side and you understand it, then that worship anointing that you have as a singer won't be taken advantage of as an artist.
Mm-hmm. Agree. So in that flow, in an age where it's a do-it-yourself age, we're doing everything ourselves. Some people are, we've heard J.J. Harrison talk about how he and his wife did really everything themselves, until certain things came along. How important is it to have a team? Is it necessary? I personally have learned, amen, I can't be the artist and the graphic designer and be the fashion girl. I'm only one person. Like after so long, you just wear yourself out. But there are some people that feel like they can just do it all. They can get to the radio, they can get to Benita, they can, they can do this, they can do this, they can do that. And so from these experts, what is your opinion about developing a team or even having a team?
Well, one thing that kept me in the shortcomings, because I was that guy who was doing everything, managing, the MD, the choir director, the fashion coordinator. I was when I was doing it all. Whatever I felt like, whatever I said is what it was. And I didn't realize what was going on until certain things just started slipping through the cracks because I wasn't paying attention. I was paying attention to so many other things, like the actual business side of stuff was getting was not being taken care of. So it's very important that you build a team, one that you trust, one that has your heart, that understands how you move, that can speak for you in your absence. And I had to learn it. It took me a while to get that team, but I have that team now. And so now I'm free to do music, and that's it. I'm free to flow. I don't have to worry about nothing because that team of 10 people, they know exactly what it is that I do, how I do what I do, the whole nine. So it's very important. You want to keep as much stress off of you as possible. When you stress, you cannot create. When you stress,
Mm-hmm.
you cannot
Mhm.
flow. When you stress, you can't hear God. I don't care if you're Superman or not, Superwoman. When you are stressed and bound, you cannot hear clearly. Too many distractions. How to alleviate some of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? To make sure that you have a clear channel to hear from what God is telling you to do at that moment for that particular situation. Get your team. Young people that's on here, get you a team that you can trust. And it does not necessarily mean that it has to be your mother and your father or your sister and your brother.
Mm. No, no, no.
Said, Doc said.
No, 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 no.
No, Bishop.
But that's what the label used to represent. The label represented you having a team because you had someone who was handling marketing, you had someone handling radio, you know. So that's your question is how important is it? It is you can't make it without a team. And as Kevin stated, even with the artist side, you still need someone handling your business. You need someone handling your product and things of that nature. You need to have a team, someone handling booking for you. Again, you cannot be the product and the promoter. You can't be both. You got to be one or the other. And you need people who believe, listen to me carefully, in you. Because there's a difference in people believing you and people believing in you. I tell my church all the time, if I tell them we need to build a gymnasium for these young people, you'll have members that would say, Pastor, you right. I believe you right. We do need they need somewhere to blow off all that energy and stuff because they believe me. But only those that believe in me will roll up their sleeves, get some shovels, and say, where you want me to start digging a hole to pour the concrete. When you're building your team, you got to watch people who go hard for you for free because those are the people that you will eventually have on your payroll. And only those that believe in you um, will even be able, Kevin, to get your heart, will have the desire to want to know your heart, will want to make sure that what they're doing is up to your standard. You know what I mean? And when you have 2, 3, 4, 5 of those people, there's nothing you can't do. There's nothing you can't do. But they got to believe in you, in you as the brand of the product. I believe that this is my goose that's going to lay the golden eggs for all of us to eat. And if we just make them look good, we all going to be okay.
But now let's be very clear with something, Bishop. Be very clear with, and I'm sorry, Miss Benita. I
No, no,
apologize
go ahead.
for interrupting.
Go ahead.
But I'm very clear. If you are on here, and I'm saying this straight from Kevin, if you're on here and you're listening to this, and you've just been in ministry for a year and a half or 2 years, you do not need a manager.
Thank you.
You do not need a team. You do not need.
Say it again for the little
I was gonna
person
say
in the
that
back.
too. What you?
You,
Mm.
you know what are you needing that for? We don't know you. We don't know you. You know, only if you can demand like that and your schedule is calling for you to be gone like that and you can't keep up with stuff, yeah, you need help. But you just getting started.
All right.
You just getting started. And the first thing that you're looking for is a manager? No. Look for some skills to learn how to sing. Okay, so and the second thing I'm sorry, y'all. You know, but I want to make sure
You
that
warming up now, Doc.
just because Bishop Toney said it, he said it best. Just because you have people that believe in you does not make them a yes, sir, and yes, ma'am person.
Absolutely.
The people that believe in you, they're going to tell you, no, this ain't a good idea. Let's think of another way of putting this together to accomplish what you need. How about go this route? Let's think about this. You know what I'm saying? They're going to give you options. They're not going to just side with you because they believe in you. No, they're going to tell you the truth because what they invest in, they want to return as well.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Amen.
And I think it's really important to, before we need answers, I think it's really important to be. I heard my pastor say something today. Sometimes I'll use Bonita. You have to have people that you're okay with them telling you no.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know Kevin just said that. Let me help you. People that say no, you should not. I'll give you an example. I was once asked to sing background for a live recording, and the person at that time that was helping me in my music ministry, great way to say that, she said no. I said, huh? What you mean no? She said, no, you no, you should not, and no, you cannot. I'm grown. What you mean I cannot? She said, Yolanda, I don't think this is a good idea, and I don't think you should do this. I think you love people, you want to support everybody. This is not one of those events where you should be a part. You should go, support, and sit in the pew. That was the hardest thing, but she was 1000% correct. It was not something I should have been a part of. It was not well put together from every part of it. We're not dropping names because we don't do that here. Just know it was not something. And sometimes you have to be willing. I think a lot of times you have to be willing to listen to the people around you because you're not always right. And there are going to be a lot of times where someone's going to tell you, it could be, in my life, maybe it's a Benita, it's a Kevin, it's a Bishop says, no, I don't think this. They may call you and say, I heard you. Do not do that. Do not be. No, you shouldn't go. And I think a lot of times because we're grown, we like, no, I want to go. The Lord told me no, because there's some things you just don't want your name attached to. Benita.
I forgot what I was going to say. Now, ditto to Bishop and to Kevin. And I think adding to people believing in you, you have to have people that are skilled.
Yep.
And when Kevin's talking about, mom and daddy and cousin and auntie wanting to be on your team, that's great. But if they don't know what they're doing, it's not great. It's just not. It could be detrimental to your career to have someone to handle your business and they how to handle your business. So delegate people in the areas that they're skilled in. Don't let someone take on a managerial role that has to talk to people and they got a nasty attitude, because they are an extension of your ministry and of your brand. So even for my company, if people see me behaving badly, then that reflects on my artist. I have to be a woman of integrity because I also represent 15, 20 artists. I'm attached to them. I'm part of their team. So when people see me, they sometimes see that artist. And if you have a bad attitude, if you have, handled business inappropriately, done some shady deals, that's going to reflect on your ministry. So when you're adding people to your team, you need to, of course, have people who believe in you, but you need to have people who are skilled and people of integrity, who are always going to do the right thing to represent you in the best light. And people of skill, they'll be able to help you grow. They've got to be able to, help you grow in this industry. And, they don't have to be a person that does this full time like me. Like I said, delegate people to tasks that they are comfortable doing or that their skill set is. But when it's time, you do need to add people, that do what we do, a graphic artist like Yolanda, don't be doing album covers on Publisher or Word. No. You need to hire Yolanda with the birds, the doves, and the prayer. No. And that's when I say no. I've said it before. I shut my artists down a lot of times, especially when I'm in artist development. If it's a picture like this, bye. No, we're not doing that.
Benita, will you tell people how many new artists that's trying to get deals have gotten shot down and their record the CD was never played when they picked up the cover?
It looked like third graders put it together. And that's real. And I have some of those on my desk now that people send me or in my inbox. People are still doing that, thinking that, there are industry standards. There's a quality of it. And sometimes, like you said, Bishop said, before they hear you, they see you. Absolutely. And if it doesn't look like it's of quality, more than likely, it's not going to sound like it's a. So you need to have a full representation of everything you do, from the people that answer your emails, how to talk to people on your behalf, to the people that are designing your album covers, and even your photographer taking a good picture, and having those people around you to tell you how to dress for your photos. All those people on your team have to be a little more knowledgeable to let you go out with something other than that and whatever it's going to sound like. So just have people on your team that believe in you, but that are skilled, and that can handle business in this industry.
I take great Polaroid pictures.
I bet you do.
I'm talking about my Instagram.
A lot of photoshopping going on.
We are not doing that.
I am killing the game.
We are not doing that. So when she talked about perception, can we touch on, and then there's some questions that want to be asked. I don't want to keep people, all night. So you said something about presentation and image. And so how important, and I'm gonna start with Kevin Lemons for a reason. So how important is body image and fashion and being the part? I had a great conversation with my cousin, her and her husband manage a very well-known secular artist, and she, I already have, they don't play. So she already knows, she already has an expectation of me personally, like, this is the expectation, this is what you do. But, everybody doesn't, believe that. So how important is how you look, how you present yourself? Is that important?
It is very important, number one, because like Ms. Benita said earlier in the conversation, before they hear your ministry, they see you. And unfortunately, we live in a society where people size you up by what they see before they even experience who you are. Mm-hmm. I'm going to get in trouble for saying this, but Bishop Toney has heard me say this before. He's chastised me about it before. But I teach my people, sex sells in every genre. Sex sells in every genre. If you have someone standing before you that is dressed nice, and, that is put together well, you're going to automatically pay attention to what they're doing and what they're saying. From the smallest to the biggest, it doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying? It's the way of how they carry themselves and what they think about themselves is what draws you in. I'm a big guy, but I love to dress. I love to smell good. I love to look my best when I come out. That nature. I understand that because I'm standing in front of people. I don't want to give them just anything.
Oh yeah, he don't play. Just to see y'all know, he don't at all. No playing that game.
No, they be bringing it. Oh, I agree. Well, I agree. Presentation is a lot, and we just want to present ourselves, I always say, in excellence. And digging deeper, and just because these are issues that I've had to address working with women, you have to be careful what you wear. You are representing Christ first, and you're on a platform, so you have to dress appropriately.
Now, please understand, I ain't telling nobody to come out naked.
And that doesn't mean that you can't be stylish. Because I like clothes. You can be stylish, you can be trendy, you can be sassy, all of that.
Yeah.
But you have to be presentable. You can't show everything. And there's a way to do that. And same with men. There's certain things that men, you got to present yourself in. You can present yourself in a stylish way without going overboard, because sometimes it can be a distraction. It just is. And people are not there to see what you wear. They're there to hear you sing and get a message. And probably for the most part is to, experience God. Well, that's what they're there for in our genre. Across the board, it's different, but in our genre, they're there to experience God, and you can't let distractions get in that way. And sometimes clothing distraction.
Bishop?
I think that goes back to the whole, how do you know when it's time to be an artist versus a worship leader? Because there is a commitment to professionalism.
Mm-hmm.
There's a commitment to being tasteful and classy. There's a commitment to having your hair done. There's a commitment to getting your teeth clean. There's a commitment to having deodorant and powder with you at all times.
Yes,
Powder, doc. You need powder. My grandmama had that Estee Lauder powder in the bathroom.
Come on with it. Come on with it.
Huh? If you ain't got no Estee Lauder powder, you ain't ready to be no artist. Huh?
And touch the deodorant.
Come on, doc. At the end of the day, your image. I mean, you'd be surprised how many people didn't get a call back because, they just didn't look right. They came in smelling like Newports and weed.
Can't look ratchet.
Y'all ain't talking back to me. They sung, but the whole band smelled like gin and juice. I mean, all of that is part of being an artist. And again, we're not gigging in the nightclubs. Well, you at somebody's church smelling like weed. For real? I mean, I know it's legal in some places, but for real, like you really, and you got blue jeans on at the women's conference. All the mothers got on white hats, and you come in with blue jeans, smell like weed. You got to know where you're going.
No, you're on
your team failed you.
No, the church.
Somebody failed you. You at the wrong place. And it's probably better to just bow to say, you know what? I ain't gonna be able to sing tonight before I get up and force this on you and tell you, don't you be traditional, don't you be stuck, and don't you judge me. Because I'm still God.
Know your audience.
Yeah, the Bible talks about he who wins souls is wise. So I think it's important as artists, you make sure you ask the right questions. Does the church do they for the ladies, like, what kind of church is it? If you're going to a 7-day Adventist church, some 7-day Adventist churches still don't believe in makeup. They don't believe in earrings. They definitely don't believe in pants. There are still some culture churches who don't believe in women wearing pants, right? They prefer that you wear a skirt. They may prefer that you wear stockings. I think it's like Kevin said, it is your responsibility to be informed. It's your responsibility to ask the questions, because I agree with Bishop. The Bible talks about when in Rome, do as the Romans do. So sometimes you can offend people and you can miss out on the ultimate ministry that you could provide because you just didn't ask the questions and feel like, no, you brought me here. I think there's a big mistake that artists make is you brought me here, and so you got to take this as it is. No, that's not the case. The other way around. They brought you there.
Listen, and you're so right about it. I'm giving my own testimony. We had to sing at a 7-day Adventist church here in Atlanta. It was our first time singing at a 7-day Adventist church. We not knowing the culture of the church, and all of in its particularities and things of that nature. We just going to sing or whatever. We get to the church, and one of my members tells me, okay, the ladies can't wear jewelry. They can't wear earrings. They can't do this, whatever. So as a leader, I pulled all of my people into the room and said, hey, ladies, I need y'all to take this off. I need y'all to go and redo your makeup, put a little bit of that off, give me a light dust, so that we can be appeasing to these people that invited us to come. And when we did that, we have been to this same church at least 10 times since that.
Respect the house.
What would happen if you had somebody that said, I ain't gonna do it, then you messed all of that up. You gotta be flexible. Gotta be flexible.
Yeah. I mean, if what you have on, or what you're wearing, what you're accustomed to doing, if it's going to cause that much of an issue, then you need to check yourself in what you're doing.
But that goes back to discipline of the church, Kevin, because when we came up in church choirs, Doc, if they said for the anniversary, you're going to have on a black skirt and a white blouse and a stud earring, you didn't come in there with hoops. So you learn to be flexible from that kind of upbringing. You understood it's not about what I have on per se. I'm going to be presented in the right way, but I'm accountable because I was under leadership and I was submitted to leadership. How many of these artists even still have pastors? Yolanda, you talked about listening to your pastor today, but how many of these artists even still have pastors that they can call and say, hey, I got a call to go to MegaFest, and I want to know what you think I should do. Do they even have that relationship with the leader? Or is everybody on island now and you can't tell nobody nothing? And I ain't trying to hear what you got to say.
Because everybody
do the way I do.
Everybody's on their own island and they have their own mic. They on the praise team.
It's because they got their own Facebook page and they got 100,000 likes.
Yeah. Which doesn't equate success.
No, it doesn't.
In their world, it does.
No, you can buy that. I'm not convinced.
Oh my.
I'm convinced when I see people talking to you in the comments, and I see people sharing, and I see people So people, I'll put Kevin aside. Some people ask, why would you want to see Kevin? It's because I've been watching from afar for a very long time. And what I saw was 100% consistent. What I saw was when Higher Calling came to sing at Freedom Radio's party in, I think it was in Nashville. And when they walked in the room, it was like the 100 voice choir that walked on stage. And Sister Act, I was like, oh, okay. He mean business. The girls looked the part, the guys looked the part. And then they sang, it was only about 20 people, right, out of all the people that, all 80 of us. And now I can say us, amen. So, and the 20 people sounded like 80, and they looked like they meant business. And he looked like they came to do a job. So I think the other part is, like everyone is saying here, I think it's important to make sure if you want the part, you have to be the part. Yeah. If you want the job, you can't show up for a job interview with a crooked tie and your pants unzipped and your shoe untied. They won't take you serious, and that's just the truth. You more than likely, you may not get the job, and you may be 1,000% qualified. You may be the best applicant there's ever been, but they won't take you serious. To me, it's the same thing that applies. So I'm not saying you have to wear buckets of makeup. I don't think any of us are saying that, you have to have on the brand new outfit from Jay Boylan. But I think we are saying is you have to be the part that's inward and outward. Even when I made the comment earlier about being healthy, that's a process. That's not something that happens overnight, but you should be on a journey to that, because when you're not, when you're dissatisfied on the inside, it shows no matter what you got on. You can have on the latest and greatest. It won't matter. Because if you're nasty on the inside, I wouldn't want it to sing with the Kevin Lemons if he wasn't approachable, if he was nasty on the inside, if he treated people in a kind of way. But I saw over time how he was this nice guy and how he, his wife is sweet. And see, all those parts matter. They all matter.
He's genuine. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And doesn't
Consistency
change.
is very easy when you're genuine.
And consistent with it. It doesn't change.
When you're consistent with it and it doesn't change. So we do have some questions. We're 10:38, so we're going to bring it down with some questions. So a question from Latrice Main. There have been numerous references of the GMWA. If I can grab her question here. I think it's up here. There have been numerous references of GNWA. Do you all believe that this entity is still relevant and necessary force behind the career acceleration of gospel artists?
I'm going to be the first to answer that, and I'm going to say yes.
Let me tell me why you think GMWA is still important.
Okay, now.
GMWA is the heritage of gospel music. You know, one of them. It's a rich history, and you learn what you need to learn. The exposure, the connection, you know, just sharpening your tools, sharpening your gift, and being around other like-minded souls that can influence you to be better. See, one of the problems that I've learned that I've paid attention to is that we are constantly around people who are just average. We're not placing ourselves around people who are doing greater things or better things than what we are to push us up, to keep us going. We want to gravitate to those that's doing the same thing that we're doing. So everybody is doing this circle. GMWA allows you to link up with other people that you do not know. You know what I'm saying? That have degrees, that have all of the and above, to be able to help you further your music career.
I got an asterisk.
Great platform.
I got a question I'm going to ask you, Kevin.
Talk to me.
Based upon this question. Because when I listen to the question, I have a question. And my question would be, what entity would they be coming to workshop? What are they coming to get? Because I do believe that when we grew up in workshop, every level of gospel music was represented well. You had labels, writers, they were doing recordings. So you got to literally see and participate in live recordings on top of the classes, on top of all of the artists used to come to GMWA and walk around like regular people. So it was nothing for us to stop Darryl Cole in the hallway and talk to him. It was nothing for us to stop Walter Hawkins in the hallway and talk to him. Everybody came, all of the artists, everybody who was somebody and who was trying to be somebody used to come. So there was so much. You got radio. Oh my God, the radio angels. You had to sing at the radio announcer showcase because that's where they heard all the new singles and they went back home and played them. So are all of those entities still there? And if I'm going to go, why am I going? Am I going to be heard, to be discovered? Am I going to promote my new album, to make sure radio plays it? Why am I going? I would need to know that before I could answer and say, yes, wholeheartedly it's the place to go. Do I still think it is necessary and needed? Yes. Do I hope it comes back? Yes. But just as labels aren't, people are doing independent projects now and doing different things and just getting, distribution deals instead of going with a full-fledged label because I'd rather save up my $10,000 and pay my radio person myself and da-da-da-da. I don't know if GNWA still has the same push that it used to have.
Well, it's definitely changed. And I think the second part of her question I'd like to answer because she asked is it a necessary force behind the career acceleration of gospel artists? And I think that's the part that is lacking right now. Yeah. Used to it 10 years ago. Yeah. Now, not so much. Is it still relevant? Yes, indeed. It is relevant. But there are elements that changed when the music industry has changed. Therefore, I would have to say that I can't wholeheartedly co-sign to say that it is a place where an artist can accelerate their career.
Anita, where is that
Because I am in the room when there are 3 or 4 gospel radio announcers in the room who are on AM stations 1 hour a week. That's not going to accelerate your career. So radio announcers aren't attending as they used to. The industry isn't there over as a whole as it used to be. So for the career of a gospel artist, there are, and I don't want to speak negative about it because there are great things about it, and it's the heritage of our industry per se. But there are other conferences, other organizations that are doing more right now to help accelerate the career of gospel artists. And plus, it's a matter of being involved. You have to put in order to get out. You've got to be active and involved, like being a member of NARIS, which some of y'all don't even know what NARIS stands for. Well, in layman terms, that's the Grammys. Being a member and being active in your chapters, in your regional local chapters. There are elements and things, there are programs, there are networking events, there are a lot of components to being a member of a Grammy, which is only $100 a year, that can help accelerate your career. Being a part of the GMA, the Gospel Music Association, not just to try to get on the Dove ballot to vote. No, there are things you can attend and be a part of, sessions that will accelerate your career by being connected to certain people. Because there are certain people in the room now at Grammys and at the Dove Awards and at the Stellars where they used to be at GMWA. They're not there so much anymore. I hope that changes. But there are other entities that really are designed to help accelerate the careers, especially in our independent artist world, because labels, I was at a label who spent $50, $60, $70, $80,000 at GMWA 15 years ago for a showcase, but we would break artists, we knew that all the radio stations were there and everybody was there. They're not there anymore. So yeah, I could go on and on, but yeah. So I hope that answers her question, but yeah. Relevant, but there are other organizations that we need to take a look at that artists need to take a look at and be involved in.
Oh, that's so good. So how important is it? You said something about the Grammys. So while getting this other question, is it important for artists to register to be a Grammy member? Is it worth? Because someone say, well, I don't think that's ever going to happen for me, or this or this or this or that. I know the answer, but is it important for people to register for all of those platforms, Stellars, Grammy, so on and so forth?
Well, I mean, I think you have to think about it too as just not wanting to register to get a Grammy Award. It's kind of like, everybody that goes to college and plays basketball may want to go to the NBA, but how many people are actually going to go to the NBA? How many people are actually going to win a Grammy? If you're just in it to win a Grammy, well, I think you're in it for the wrong reasons, but you can't win it unless you're in it. So I hear it all the time, especially with the Grammys. Been a member for eons and the Dove Awards, GMA. I hear complaints all the time from gospel artists. We never get a chance. We never included. They always leave us out. They do this, they do that. Well, first of all, y'all ain't even a member. So quit your griping. Quit all that crying. Because you're not active, you're not registered, you don't even know how to register. So you haven't even submitted an album. So how do you know? I too get tired. Let me just be real. I get tired of seeing the same artists on the ballot because I get the ballot. It's the same. Donnie, Kirk, Yolanda, Cece, Tasha. I get tired of seeing them on the ballot. Well, how many independent artists are out there? There are more independent artists out there than there are signed artists. So if we would all just register and vote, could you imagine what might happen? What might happen if y'all quit crying and register and vote?
On November 3rd also.
Get involved. Right. Vote. $100. Y'all spend that on nails each week. at the nail salon. You spend that on a pack of hair weave. Okay, invest in your career. Be a member of GMA Dev Awards. Be a member of NARIS, the National Association of Recording of Science and Arts and Sciences, whatever that is, the Grammys. Be a member of the Stellars so that you will have a reason. If you do complain, you can at least say, I'm a member and I have voted. And as an independent artist, everybody register. That's the only way you're even going to be able to be a part of it, is to register and vote.
I don't have any hair to buy.
I'm sorry, say that again.
She said we spend $100 on hair. I don't have no.
And I know that weave costs more than $100.
Well,
I know it costs
I know
more
this
than $100.
bun on $12.99. So, but not only as being a member, there are other benefits to being in these organizations. The networking, there are classes, there are sometimes you can sign up for pitches to pitch your music to different platforms. You can go into writing sessions with other artists and network cross genres. Like, you just never know what'll happen. Like, even the Grammys, if you remember, they have some the Grammy Pro. It's kind of like the Facebook for all the Grammy members. You can go on and talk to other Grammy members. Go and talk to Wyclef Jean if he's checking that day or whatever. You just never know. So you've got to be be a member in order to reap the benefits of what some of these organizations offer. And it's not just all about voting. It's all about protecting your rights as a creative content, a content creator, protecting your music, networking up your career, and knowing legal matters, all of that stuff. A lot of these organizations provide these resources, and we're missing out on it by not being a member.
But Nita, here's the thing. That goes back to that whole piece of understanding the business. Just the fact that you can continue to grow and learn and network, being connected to these places. There's an author by the last name of Hendricks who wrote a book called Living by the Book. He's a theologian and a college professor. He talked about how when he was in seminary, he would pass by his professor's house in the morning when he would leave, and in the evening when he leave, in the afternoon when he left. And he said every time he drove by his professor's house, he always saw his professor sitting at the dining room table with 9 or 10 books open reading. And so one day he came to class and he asked his professor, he said, every time I drive by your house, I always see you read. I don't care if it's morning, afternoon, or night. And his professor said to him, he asked him, why do you do that? Why do you read so much? He said, because I would prefer my students drinking from a running faucet than drinking from a still pond. And too many of us as gospel artists, we're sitting around with still pond habits. We just sitting still on this little basic knowledge of these few things. We never continue to stretch ourselves and get out of our comfort zones to learn the music business, like being a part of the academy and things like that, because it's going to continue to feed you. You're going to continue to be a faucet that's going to have fresh water coming out versus just being stale, thinking that the way it was done back then is the only way we can do it. And all you got to do is know A flat from E flat and gut that house and you'll be good. No, we got to understand the business. How are you going to get? Come on, Kevin Lemons did the soundtrack. He sung on the soundtrack for Netflix for the Carlton Pearson story. There are a lot of the Clark sisters, Donna Lawrence, they did the Clark sister stories. There are a lot of different things for film, even for gospel now. But you need to be connected.
Yeah, TV, Walmart.
And
come on, Walmart.
You need to have your business in place. And these are the places that you can get connected to learn that stuff.
Yep.
And too, something I want to plug in too. So if you're watching again, because these are, very busy people, so we're going to wrap it up. But I have put in all the links. You can say, well, I don't even know. First of all, there is a free university called google.com. So you can find anything you want at any time, 24 hours a day, 7 days.
Everything on the internet is right.
It's right there. But I put all the links. You can register for the Grammys. You can register for Dove. You can register for the Stellars. And, and really something she said, Benita said that she didn't say, but what I heard is kind of repositioning your thinking. The money you would spend, I'm a nail girl, so I get it. But take It's okay. So here's the thing. Simplify it. Instead of getting all the perks of the nails, right? We use the nails. Instead of getting all the diamonds, all the kind of stuff, just get your nails done. Simplify it. Do the regular polish instead of the gel polish, and take that money and dedicate it to somewhere else.
Simple.
And instead of getting all the hair, get you some braids, let that stretch out. Dedicate that money somewhere else, because everything they're saying, it takes money to
invest in yourself.
I can't do ministry like that.
Yes, you can.
I can't
You better learn how to invest in yourself.
It's a hinder. It's a hinder.
We're saying still look good.
Right.
But rededicate your funds other places so that you can stretch out. The other part is, I used to tell people, go to the Stellars. The first time I went to the Stellars, I got an opportunity to sing somewhere during Stellar weekend. But I told so many people, I said, just go. Don't have an agenda. Go, because number one, you'll never know who's walking through these hallways. Most time people are just chilling out. Kurt Franklin's walking through with his wife. People are chilling out. The other part is, it's hard, in my opinion, to adapt to an environment you've never been in.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to go from the stage at your church, not the big stage, the stage at your church, to this major stage with 10,000 people. And so if you don't know how to have those conversations, as Benita's saying, to be in those rooms, it's I promise you, it's a lot different than when you see it on television. I remember one time I went to the Stellars. Now I go and I'm just kind of chilling back or hanging back. Hey, but I can always tell when people have never been before, because they're at the taping, and some people are mortified because they can't believe they stop and start. Yeah, because it's a live recording. So they're editing, they're stopping, somebody read the prompter wrong, and it's always like, oh yeah, they've never been here before. Don't allow yourself to be caught in that space where you immediately have to adapt every time. There are going to be times when you have to be a chameleon, but there are other times, don't wait for that moment. Save your ducats now so you can go to the Stellars, or so you can go to the Dove Awards, so you can even go to the Grammys. Really, all those events are open to the public, and there's no reason why you can't start getting in those spaces now. Don't wait for it to come, because the reality is, the way things are now, you have to be in the right space at the right time.
You can't expect somebody to invest millions into you, and you want to even invest thousands into yourself.
Absolutely agree.
It's an investment.
Yeah.
There was one last question.
Somebody said, I think Benita said something about it costs. I mean, that's the bottom line. That's a cost.
Oh yeah.
Whether it's sacrificing or whether it's Benjamin's, it's a cost. You got to sacrifice.
You got to sacrifice. There was one last question. Does the industry show favoritism? Answer it how you feel. Does the industry show favoritism or cliquish to the point that it can prevent or stop the growth or development for new artists, or stifle?
In my opinion, I'm going to say no. I honestly do not believe that it is a thing of favoritism or anything of that nature. I believe that it is a thing of, I'm choosing who I know is going to come through.
Can Kevin let me see my eyes?
It's like, okay, just take me for an example. What's the man's name from the Stellar Awards? Don Jackson. Don Jackson does not know me from Adam's Cat. He may have heard my name, but he does not know me. So if it came down to him choosing to pick Donald Lawrence, Kirk Franklin, or Kevin Lemons to appear on the Stellar show, or Ricky Dillard, he's going to choose Ricky Dillard because Ricky Dillard is a known, you know what I'm saying? He delivers every time. Every time it's a smash. So I'm going to go with, what makes sense. So I don't think that's a thing of favoritism at all.
Kevin Lemons.
That's good.
Kevin Lemons.
Yes, sir.
This whole world is cliquish. It's all about relationships and who you know.
Well, I mean, of
And the
course.
gospel music industry is no different than any other
Yeah, it's
entity.
so different.
Um, Relationships, who you know, who's in your corner, who's going into a meeting on your behalf, can get you in certain doors and not get you in some certain doors. But beyond that, people have their favorites. Kevin,
Mhm.
your choir, y'all my favorite. If I hit the lottery, knock on wood, if I hit the lottery and came into $400 million, and I decided I was gonna put on the biggest concert in Atlanta, Georgia.
I need 399 million.
Now you're pushing it, Doc, but you will be headlining, and I will pay you the most because you're my favorite.
Your
I,
favorite.
I
Yeah.
love everybody. I love all gospel music, but you're my favorite. So I'm gonna pick up the phone and call you because of the relationship, because of the favoritism. That's that. I mean, just keep honest. I'm gonna call you because you're my favorite. So yes, the industry has their favorites. It's favoritism. It's relationships. It's who you know.
It's cliquish.
It's
Mhm.
cliquish. It's very cliquish. I mean, if
Yeah.
you're not in the in crowd, some folk will look at you up and down and turn their nose up and down
Mhm.
at you. Quick, won't speak the whole 9 yards. That's life.
Yeah.
That's everywhere.
Yeah. But I say it shouldn't stop you from doing what you do.
It should not
There
stop you
are
from
there
doing
are cliques I'm excluded out of. I'm like, you, Benita? Yeah. Here in Nashville even. But I don't let that stop me. That makes me go hard. Don't let it stop you. There's going to be favoritism. There are cliques in and out. Gospel music is not exempt, but do
Nope.
not let it stop you.
People will be up
And I,
singing that you can outsing the whole 9 yards, all of that, but you got to keep pushing. You got to believe in yourself, and you got to understand that at some point, everybody gets a shot. At some point, you're going to get a chance. At some point, you're going to be at the right place because you didn't quit and you do what you
Right.
do, and the right person's going to hear you. They're going to see you. Do you know how long Kevin Lemons and High Caller had been singing before they did that Hezekiah Walker Choir Fest that got over 500,000 views now? They've been doing what they were doing, but they were at the right place. They were the last one on that night. It was late. It was over in the wee hours. And here we are
In
now,
the morning.
500 something thousand views later. Now people are all into Kevin Lemons' High Calling. But he had been doing it. He had been pushing. He had been striving. At some point, your gift will make room for you. And your business ethic will keep you in the room.
Yeah, integrity
I,
will keep you every time.
I think with me, and I'm just using me as an example, like I really do not pay attention to clicks. In fact,
Mm.
I just really don't be caring.
I'm glad your mic going in and out because
I
I
just
don't care about what you're talking about right now.
yes you do, yes you do, because I don't care. I just don't. I don't look at stuff. I don't look for that kind of stuff. You know what I'm saying? I just enjoy, like William Toney said earlier. I just enjoy what I do. So I do it at whatever cost, and I don't care if you like it or not. I just
Do it.
enjoy what I do.
Just keep going.
You know?
Don't let it stop you.
But there are clicks in the industry, Doc. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
So I think there's in bringing it all to a close. I think there's balance in what they're saying. I think the reality is you do have to be aware. Sorry, Jesus be talking. I think you do have to be aware that everybody's not. My friend said something to me, Yolanda. Everybody's not gonna like you, and that was really hard for me for a long time because I thought I'm nice to everybody. I love everybody, but the reality is everybody's not gonna like you, and everybody's not gonna be love your music, and everybody's not gonna be a fan, right? And then there are gonna be those that you can do no wrong. And I think the reality is, as you develop into becoming an artist, you have to be in the reality that everybody's just not going to like your music. And that doesn't make you less of a person. It doesn't make you less of a creative, and it doesn't make you less of an artist. I think really in wisdom, if you have that kind of balance, it will help you succeed, along with the balance of to keep moving forward, to not get caught up in those thoughts and those patterns, because that'll take you off course too. because you're going to try to be a part of the favorite crowd. You're going to be a part of, but you can't be a part of every crowd, and every crowd is not going to be for you. And there's sometimes there is a reason. I'm sure Benita and Bishop and Kevin can attest. There is sometimes a reason why you are excluded, and sometimes being excluded keeps you safe.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes being excluded keeps you out of trouble. It
Mm-hmm.
keeps you out of certain circles and situations because you think it's all pretty and nice. See, I'm a little bit older, so I can be a little bit more straightforward. Sometimes what you think is not. And it looks all pretty and shiny. But my mama used to say everything that glitters is not gold.
Mama was right.
So you think, oh, they driving this car, and it is not like that.
I don't know how they had to sell their soul to get that car.
I use reality TV. Y'all think they live in them houses? They do not live in those houses. I thought that. So I'm gonna use me. Right? I was watching Love and Hip Hop when it first started. Yes, I watched Love and Hip Hop. When I was watching that, I thought, oh man, my friend said, Yolanda, that's not their house. They don't live in their house.
Facade.
They don't drive those cars. They rent those houses and they rent those cars. So sometimes being excluded is God's protection, keeping you from stuff that you don't need to be a part of. And so while I'm in this lane right here, also be careful about what you're saying. What you're saying on social media, what you comment, what you like, what you post, what you share. I guarantee you there are people like the Benita Bellamy's, like the William Toneys, like the Kevin Lemons who are watching from afar. I promise you that with everything I love. That I can put money on. And sometimes they don't say anything. They just watch you from afar. They see how you are. They see how you respond. They see what you respond to, how you act. And then when you come to them and you say, I want to be a part of Kevin Lemons and Higher Calling, or I want the Bellamy group to represent me, or Bishop Will Toney, I would like your services in this area. And then if they say no, you feel like, well, why wouldn't you? Well, because you were part of all the drama that went down on some social media thread that really didn't hold a lot of weight. People don't want to be attached to that. People who are genuine, they have real integrity, they don't want to be attached, especially this day and age when there are so many artists. People don't want to be attached to a whole bunch of rigmaroles, my mom would say. They don't want to be attached to that. So be cognizant. I mean, no one's perfect, but be cognizant of what you say. Be cognizant of what you share. Be cognizant of what you like. Every conversation is not worth the conversation to get into. It's just important, especially if you are a gospel artist. I promise you, the Kirk Carts, the Kirk Franklins, they may never tell you, but they are watching and they are paying attention. Amen.
Amen.
Okay, so any final comments or thoughts or anything that you would like to say to an artist who may say, I'm inspiring, I've heard everything you said, but I really want to be an artist. I'm inspiring to be an artist. Any final comments or thoughts?
Ladies first.
Replay this video. And take notes. I mean, we really touched on quite a bit. And it's really good information from, surrounding yourself with the right people, adding the right people to your team, to understanding what it really does take to be an artist, not just a singer or a performer, but some of the necessary fundamentals that are needed in order to be a competitive in this music business industry. So we've kind of touched on it all, and continue learning, continue developing your craft. Never quit rehearsing, never quit trying to be better at what you do, and just focus on you. And I guess that's all I have to say. Yeah.
Big bro.
Okay.
What I have to say is simple. Those that are inspiring to go this route, please sit down and have a long, truthful conversation with yourself as to what your real intent is. If your intent is to glorify God, it's going to give you another way of going about doing it than what you've seen. If your intent is to make money or to be famous, that's going to bring on a whole nother spirit as well. When you identify what it is that you want to do and what you have been called to do, pray about it. If you don't get an answer, pray again. Don't get a release, pray again. You know what I'm saying? Because this is not easy. This is not easy. It has the ability to cause lots of stress, lots of discomfort. It has to give you mental stress. It has the ability to affect you in so many areas because you're not equipped to handle what comes along with it. All right? Take your time. I promise you, it's going nowhere. If it's meant for you to do, it'll be there when it's time.
Yep.
Bishop?
My closing advice would be one, learn how to treat people the way they deserve to be treated, not how you want to be treated, because sometimes you don't know how you're supposed to be treated. The reason why I say that is because this industry is tight knit, it's based on relationships. And sometimes you can, as we say, the little boy people, you can try to be arrogant and cocky and size somebody up based upon how they look. I'll bring his name up again. The very first time that I met Sanchez Harley, I was expecting to meet this Hispanic guy with a ponytail. And Sanchez Harley looked nothing like a Hispanic guy with a ponytail. And sometimes because you don't know these people, you can treat people, you can be grand and cocky and arrogant and not realize that this person can actually change your whole life, your whole career. So be nice. Stop being so prideful, cocky, and arrogant. Be teachable. None of us know it all. Have somebody in your corner that you can call and get information on. Stop making these career decisions on your own. Get some counsel, get some direction, even as an independent artist. And lastly, don't be weary and well doing. In due season, you'll reap if you faint not.
Well, there's a lot of information. And so the reality is this is not a one-time conversation. It's not a one-night conversation. This is years of experience, years of knowledge, years of training, years of learning. And like Bishop said, we're all forever learning. The world keeps evolving. And so we keep learning. So the reality is play this again, as the Toney song says, play this again, and then play it as necessary. So keep playing it again. Bonita, Bishop, and Kevin, thank you so very much for joining me tonight. It's like super my honor. Can you tell people how they can reach you? The last part is how they can reach you, and if you have anything upcoming that the people should know about.
Well, they can reach me here on Facebook. The Bellamy Group has a Facebook page. I have another Facebook page. Reach out to me there. Let's see. All of our artist information is there too. If you look on our Facebook page, all the new releases, new music, new books, new events, everything coming up is usually posted there. So hop on over to the Bellamy Group Facebook page and hit me up there and catch up with all of our artists and what we're doing. Okay.
Bishop?
You can contact me through the Bellamy Group. I'm gonna be one of their new artists soon. We'll talk about it after the program. If they won't represent me, I'm gonna at least get them to give me a job. Would y'all hire me, please? I'll do some work for y'all, please.
Well, it's a pandemic. We ain't doing no hiring right now.
You can reach me on Facebook. I'm William Toney. That's it. What do I have coming out new? I got a sermon I'm gonna be preaching Sunday because that's what I do. I pastor and I go to work every day. But feel free to reach out to me. I am the easiest person to get along with, and I will not withhold any information that I have. I have hundreds of people that can testify. If you need advice, you need help, you need direction, hit me up. I'm here. I help you. I made a vow to God that I would not do to people what was done to me. I made a vow to God that I would give people the knowledge and information so that they can be successful. And that's just who I am. So just find me Facebook, William Toney.
Kevin or Dr. Lemons?
Hey. So yeah, you can find me also on Facebook, Kevin Lemons and the Higher Calling, or you can find me on IG, Kevin Lemons _ Higher Calling. All right. You can ask me anything there. As far as what we have coming up, we have our new project that is getting ready to hit the top of the year.
Right.
Okay, because we get going to the Christmas season, so it really doesn't make sense to drop a project right now. All right, so we're gonna wait to the top, and it's called entitled Third Round. So we're very excited about that. All right, so go check that out when it comes.
My favorite choir in the whole wide world.
In the whole wide world. In the whole wide world.
Oh wow.
Ah! All right. I'm excited. I'm gonna let my head. Proudly. Proudly. So thank you all so much for being a part to our streaming audience. Thank you so much for watching. It really means a lot. So at the end of the day, I just want to help people. That's all. So I'm willing to call in some favors. I'm willing to call in some people. Yes, sir.
We added to the Bellamy family, so I'll let you know that too.
Come on, man.
Yeah.
Oh, let's go. Let's go.
Yeah,
Come on.
It's a family thing now.
We'll do it.
It's a family thing. So at the end of the day, I just want to help people. That's all. So I'm willing to call in some favors. Yes, along the way.
As I travel alone.
They've held it together all night.
I did late.
In my living.
It's late.
I have it, Doc. Shall I be in vain? You got the quiver. You're gonna sing gospel. You got the quiver.
This is why I only let him out like once a year. I just can't. Now, one thing Benita didn't say though, I'm gonna let y'all go. She is an author, actually. So she's not telling that part. So she is an author. Tell people about the book.
Yeah, and what I probably got it here right here. Bam.
You read it all the time.
To be
Yes. A devotional book. Y'all need to go online and get my book. It is a 31-day devotional. It's got some stories about the industry in here, but it's just about every chapter, every day is about being something, being what God has called us to be. And, some stories, some real stories and scriptures, and just some good stuff in there. So
is it on digital platforms?
Yes, it is on Amazon. You can get it on Kindle.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and even I learned something last night. If you get it on Kindle and you have Alexa, a Dot, it'll read it to you, so you can have it read to you by the I don't know that. But the website is youareborn2be.com. The number 2, youareborn2be.com. Yeah, I wrote a book, and we work with authors too, so it's been an experience to be able to actually learn to market authors and books, and now I'm kind of doing that myself for myself. So yeah, it's good stuff.
Well, thank you all for being here, Kevin. Thank you for letting me borrow your wife, brother. And Lady Lemons, I love you. Thanks for letting me borrow your husband tonight. All right.
Kevin, love you, Doc. Lemons and Kevin Kelly.
Yes, you do. Yes. Good to see you guys.
Tell Kevin Kelly we said what's happening.
I will.
So thank you all for being here. At the end of the day, again, I just want to help you guys, and I just want people to do better than we're doing, because we can do a lot better. So again, my name is Yolanda Morant. I'm always here for your graphic needs. Listen, I don't have to be your graphic designer. All I ask is that you do your best to present your best. That's all. There are thousands of graphic designers around the country, and I can't do all the work. But There is somebody available for you. If I don't suit your need, there's somebody that does. But please find it within yourself to please present better going into 2021, y'all. All right. So, amen. Good night. Have a good night. Thanks for coming.
Bye.